Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Concord Athletics Senior Spotlight. My name is Wes McKinney, and joining the spotlight for the sixth episode of the fall 2020 semester is linebacker Dwain Porterfield of the football team. Dwain, normally we'd like to start these things on the student athlete's journey to Concord, but first off, how are things going for you here in this fall semester?
Things are going well. It's a lot different in my last 3 years, obviously, because of the coronavirus and everything. But, still working hard, getting up every day. Class is different, but class is still class. Football, working harder just like the spring. So, it's nothing too crazy, but it's just different this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about your journey to Concord. You come to Concord by way of Raleigh, North Carolina, Southeast High School in the Raleigh area. So what schools were involved whenever you were being recruited to Concord, and just kind of take us through that process, if you would.
Actually, my recruiting process was actually a struggle. I didn't really hear about Concord until like March of my senior year. I went to an unsigned prospect camp down in Charlotte. It was like the first annual senior showcase, and Concord so happened to be a school that I was gonna go. And funny story, I emailed them to let them know that I was coming, sent them my highlight tape and let them know who I am. And they didn't even show up because of low funding and everything. But Coach Ferguson, at the time was a GA. He reached out to me after the interview, got the ball rolling from there, got a walk-on opportunity, and here I am 3 years later.
Yeah, you were a late signing, as you mentioned. Concord didn't really enter the picture until about halfway through the spring there in March. Was there any kind of worry, doubt, anxiety maybe, that you wouldn't be able to find a home to go to college? What was kind of plan B if college football wasn't in the mix as plan A?
Honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I didn't really have a plan B. I was going to go somewhere. I was like, worst came to worst, I would have went to a small school back home and tried to walk on somewhere if I didn't get a true opportunity. But college football was the only thing on my mind. So, yeah, best believe I was worried when it got to March my senior year and I didn't have a home. But luckily, prayerfully, by the grace of God, this came through. So
you get to Concord in the fall of 2017. You mentioned that you're a walk-on, and you make your start as I guess kind of mold your craft, so to speak, as a special teams player. You're one of the better special teams players. You're seemingly on every single special teams unit. So, how did you kind of adapt to playing just special teams there, I guess, like your first year and kind of plus?
Well, first thing Coach Price, the head coach at the time, said to us, he was like, I'm not going to expect you to come in here knowing how to play certain techniques, play certain coverages or whatever. I'm not going to expect you to come in at 205 pounds, ready to take on a 310-pound proven collegiate football lineman. But he said, you can run down the field and hit somebody. So I just said just that. I'm going to just run down the field and hit somebody. Everybody can do that. I'm going to just try to be the best at it. And, my opportunity came to get on special teams. I took it, ran with it, and that's the easiest way to get on the field as a freshman. So I figured as a walk-on, I'm going to take any chance that I can get.
Yeah, and you take that. And you take that opportunity and you run with it. You play behind Zach Malone, who's top 10 in career tackles at Concord as a freshman and a sophomore. Unfortunately, Zach gets hurt towards the end of the 2018 season, and you get your first career start at Fairmont. So what's your mindset, Dwain, at that point? You go from walk-on to special teams player to here you are starting in the middle on the Concord defense against a really good Fairmont State team there the 1st of November during the 2018 season. What's your mindset from there?
Man, I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I was scared out of my mind. I'm not scared of anybody, but it was just like, nobody expected to get thrown into the game like that. But at the same time, I started to think about it. I'm just like, you know what? I prayed for this opportunity. Unfortunate circumstances with what happened with Malone, great player. Hate to see him go down like that. But I was like, this is my chance and this is my time. And when you got that one shot, you can't let it go. So I was like, I'm going to just run with it. I'm going to just pray and go hard because that's all you can do.
Yeah, isn't it funny, Dwain, whenever you're trying to break in to to whatever sport it might be, and you've been a backup for a lot of your career, whoever that might be, and you get that opportunity. Like I said, unfortunate circumstances there for Zach, but isn't it just kind of weird how you're given that opportunity and you got to do nothing but run with it?
Extremely. I mean, the opportunity never comes how you expect it. But the thing about it is, if you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. And when you're fighting for an opportunity, typically, you're staying ready at all times. So like, the time it came, and it was a funny way to get it, but I got it, and I was ready, and I proved it. Hopefully.
Concord enters the 2019 season. A lot of new faces on defense, a lot of young talent. How much did your playing time there and starting at middle linebacker at the end of the 2018 season, how did that really kind of help you become a leader on the 2019 Concord defense?
Well, a lot of guys saw, how I broke in, started playing and everything, and they saw that, when it came to tackles and everything, I was up there. I went up there and did my thing. But as going into the 2019 season, a lot of guys looked up to me from the past season. They believed in me, and kind of having that support and realizing how many people looked at me like as a leader, it meant a lot to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I can't let these guys down. They believe in me. I got to believe in myself. Feel me? So, yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of specific games from last fall, the 2019 season. Your first career interception comes against Frostburg, first home game of the season, second game of the season. Overall, I remember your interception was along the near side sideline, and you ran it back 30 yards, I think, into Concord territory, or maybe towards into Frostburg territory, or maybe towards midfield. Just kind of take me inside that play if you could.
Well, first of all, I want to say shout out to Jaquil. Was a senior last year. He the one who tipped it to me. He just played perfect technique, and I was just sitting in my hole. I broke on the ball. He tipped it. It literally fell right into my hands. And, when a defensive player, especially a linebacker, gets the ball in his hands, it's go time. So the only thing I was thinking about was scoring. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because I didn't follow my block. I was a little too excited. But it was a simple play, man. I just dropped into my hole, broke on the ball, and God just gave me a gift.
Let's move ahead to towards the end of the season. West Virginia Wesleyan at home. Really good game. You guys are up 4 points, 21-17, start of the fourth quarter, and you get a forced fumble, kind of halted a Wesleyan drive right there around midfield. Take me inside that play, and how crucial was that play to the overall outcome of the game?
That play definitely changed everything. That play was kind of hard. That game for me was kind of hard overall. I was playing with a torn bicep. My arm was wrapped up. The quarterback scrambled out. He was going for the first. I grabbed him with my good arm, tried to sling him around. The pursuit was crazy. He ends up dropping it, or somebody ends up coming through and helping me out. And I believe Imani scoops it up. And that just took all the confidence away from West Virginia Wesleyan right there. They were already a struggling team. We were two pretty even matched teams and everything. But it was at that point in the game where their confidence in winning was completely shot. And our confidence, if you saw the energy on that sideline, after that play, everybody was ready to finish this thing and finally seal the deal, So, turnovers are a huge deal, and that one was probably the biggest one of the season.
Yeah, and unfortunately, kind of like Zach the year before, that defensive that game against Wesleyan was one of your final few defensive possessions of the year, the forced fumble. You end up missing the rest of the season, the final two games there with that injury. You mentioned the torn bicep, but you still lead the team 79 tackles. The interception that I mentioned, the forced fumble, you had a fumble recovery earlier in the season at Notre Dame. That leads to you being All Mountain East Conference honorable mention. Dwain, was that kind of a validation, of all the hard work you would put in from being a walk-on special teams player, and now here you are as one of the top, 5, 6, 7 linebackers in the entire league?
Yeah, it meant a lot. It was a little bit of validation, but at the same time, I wasn't too happy with it because I felt like my first season kind of got taken away from me. I didn't get where I wanted to get to. You know what I'm saying? And so, if anything, it was just a huge motivation factor. You know, I don't want to. Honorable mention is great. It's a blessing. Don't get me wrong, and it go down in history before, and I cherish that forever. But at the same time, I want more than that. I want first team. I want to have 100 tackles. I want to lead the conference in tackles. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was great and everything, but it wasn't enough, and I'm just getting started.
Yeah, we've seen the work ethic you've put in, obviously, to become what you have, the starting middle linebacker for this Concord defense. But like you said, you want more. So how's that driven you, I guess, or what have you done to find that extra drive?
Honestly, it took a lot because I was down at that point. I was really low, but coming in to last spring. I mean, not coming into last spring, coming into this fall, going into the summertime, basically. When I was all 110%, I was all healed up. I sat down. I wrote some things down. I prayed. I looked at myself and I said, you know what? I got one more shot to do what I want to do and leave it all out there. And I felt like God took it from me last season to give me the internal motivation to go that much harder, because now I know just how quickly the game can be taken away from me, especially with me now being a senior. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just had to look into myself and say, you got to leave it all out there. No regrets, no hesitations, nothing. Go full speed.
A couple other things, Dwain, I wanted to hit on. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about your throwing on the track team for Coach Mike Cox. How did that come about? I know you've qualified for the MEC championships a couple of times there in the throwing events. Was that kind of in the plans when you got to Concord, or was that kind of the thing that just kind of evolved as time went on?
Well, see, when I was in high school, a lot of my friends on the track team tried to get me to do it, and I didn't want to because I was so focused on football. And then I got to my senior year, and I was like, well, I don't have football to well, I did have football to train for, but I didn't have another high school season to worry about. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go out for track one time for the one time. And I enjoyed it a lot. But when I got to college and they said that they didn't have any throwers, I was just like, well, you know what? Let me try it again just to see what happens. And, ended up falling in love with the javelin. That was cool. Shot put is cool. Struggled there, but, just opportunity to do it. So, no, it wasn't in the plan. It just sort of happened because I was like, you know what? I'm going to just try it again and see what happens. I had fun with it in high school. Who knows what happened in college?
Last thing for you here, I didn't have it written in my notes, but it's been kind of on my brain as you've been talking, and I think it's evident that you're a faith-based person. You're very active in FCA here at Concord. You've kind of taken the reins over from Damon Akers, who is getting ready to go work for FCA in Atlanta, Georgia. But, just kind of talk about following in Damon's footsteps for what he's done for FCA here at Concord.
It's kind of hard to, Damon, man, he's really was like a light on this campus, you know what I'm saying? And it's been cool, but I've had a lot of support from a lot of young guys on the football team as well. A lot of people do come to me all the time for advice. They look up to me sometimes in terms of, their walk with God and everything. It's honestly just a great opportunity to help others find the same strength that I have found in God. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's really all.
Hey, Dwain, appreciate your time here today, man, and best of luck as we get this sports season rolling, whenever that may be. But best of luck to you, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the Mountain Lions out there on the field soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man, for this.